Okay, so this is our last session today. And so, we already talked about object-oriented programming concept, and we talked about classes before. We also talked about creating methods. We talked about properties of the class and the methods inside the class. We talked that um, attributes or properties is actually variables that is relate to the class. So, and methods is function that is tied to the behavior of the class. Okay, and we also talked that when we having variables inside the class, um, so which is tied and private inside the class, we call that encapsulation. So we encapsulate the properties and tie it to the class. So if we have a car, we talk that okay, there is properties for the car, like okay, how many tires, the model, the manufacturing date, the price. So that's all properties of the class. And when we have something that is only related to that specific class, so that is called encapsulation. So we encapsulate the properties and the method for that specific class, for that specific purpose of what the class is, behavior or properties. Okay, so again, now let's move back a bit, and then we try to remember, okay, we have created employee classes. We have tried to implement player classes. Okay, and then let's have a look now at about the new concept. The concept is inheritance. Okay, so what is actually inheritance? Uh, inheritance. So object-oriented allow us um, to relate objects together. Okay, and so that if we want to create things that is classes that is tied and related, and then how to say, encourage the reuse of software, so that we don't have to write a lot of lines of repeated code, then we should always design our classes so that they inherit from each other. Inherit means that if we created a class that have certain properties and methods that can be shared by other classes, then we should always do that. Okay, so let's see, if we have a member class, we are able to create another two classes. That two classes, in our current case, we will call one class is a part-time employee, and another class is full-time employee. Okay, so let's see if we can have a look at the diagram here. Maybe it can. Okay, yeah, okay. So we have a class that is first called employee, and then we have two derived classes. One of them is called part-time employee, and another class called full-time. So both classes will make use of whatever attributes that the base class have, which is employee class is the base class here. We have attributes name and age. So if we have a part-time employee, also he will be able to use the name and age. He doesn't need to create his own properties name and age, because that's a waste. Okay, and we are able to use also the methods that the employee class have. Okay, but then how we can implement that relation? How can we tie the part-time employee to the employee class? Okay, and also the full-time class, how we can tie it here so that we are able to make use of the attributes and the methods. So as you see here, part-time class have its own attribute, which is hourly rate, because he's working part-time, right? So, and also we have his own method, daily wage. And in that full-time case, he have a monthly salary, he have a monthly rate, and we have its own, let's minimize that. So he have a yearly salary. Okay, so that's what we are trying now to hear, that we're trying to explain the concept of that inheritance. So let's have a look how inheritance work when we are using real code, Python code. So you see here the class. Okay, so we're creating private variables, and that's the two private variables that we have, the name and the age, and we see here they are private. Okay, and then we have our method get name, and then we created two new classes, part-time and full-time, and they are having employee in the brackets here on the definition of the class. Okay, to say that they are subclasses from the base class employee. Okay, and this subclass part-time is actually take the name, age, and hourly rate. And when inside the constructor of the class, it will call super. So actually, it is calling the constructor of the base class here. Okay, it's calling the constructor here. And okay, and as you see here, also this happened the same here. Okay, so again here, the constructor of the full-time class actually is calling the constructor of the base class and is passing to it name and age. Okay, and it is setting the private variable monthly rate, because that's only related, that attribute is only for the full-time subclass. Okay, okay, now let's try to remove that thing. Okay, and also remove that here. Okay, so now let's continue. Okay, so here we want to set a daily wage. So the daily wage will take hours worked, and it will multiply the hour worked by the hourly rate private variable or private attribute here, and then it will return the temp, which is the daily wage. Okay, we can call it any other thing other than temp, but yeah. So here the monthly rate is actually, give me a second, please. So the monthly rate here is monthly rate is a private variable, and then once he want to set the yearly salary, you want to get the yearly salary, he multiply 12 by the monthly rate and then return the result. Okay, that's how he gets the yearly salary. Okay, and then let's have a look more how this guy is. Okay, so that's how he actually, let's try to clean that so that we see here. So, okay, here, so just be aware that when we having a subclass, we don't actually create the base class. It is created, how to say, as a part of the constructor of the subclass. So when we create here a class, part-time, and we pass it a name and an age, and then an hourly rate, because it's a part-time, okay, and then we assign it to the variable called worker. Okay, so that is a worker of subclass part-time. Okay, and then we create a permanent worker from a full-time subclass, and we give him a name, an age, and then a monthly rate. Okay, so again here he's trying to demonstrate that both permanent worker can able to access the method of the base class. The base class have a method called get name, and actually the subclass is able to access it. So that as you can see, we don't need to create a get name class for all the subclasses. No, we can make use for whatever methods that's created for the base class, which is employee in that case, and then we are able to call it from all the subclasses. Okay, and we also able to call the yearly salary, and that specific method is only related to the full-time class. Okay, it's not related to the base class. Okay, that's good. Okay, now let's have a look. Let's try to clear here and have a look here. Okay. Okay, so yeah, he's trying to tell us what we have talked about. So the derived class, the derived class can use the properties from the parent class without redeclaring them. Yeah, that's what we explained. The derived class can use the methods from the parent class without declaring them. That's true. We can extend the properties from the parent class, and we can extend the method from the parent class. So we can extend based on the need for that. If there is no need, we just can use them. It seems like we are seeing from the parent class employee, we are saying the name and the age. We don't need to extend that in the subclasses. Okay, let's see the second slide. Okay, yeah, he's explaining about a new classes that we can create. We having a base class here, member, and we having subclasses that is derived from the main class member. We are having full-time and junior member. Okay, so that's exactly the same that we have done. Okay, let's talk about the super here, or maybe we have a look at the code here. Maybe that will help us a bit. Yes, so yeah, he explained about the super. Actually, we talked about it. So again, the junior member is actually a subclass from the base class member. And this subclass, when it is in the constructor of it, then it is calling the super. So super actually is calling the base class constructor, which is a member. Okay, and he is, yeah, and yeah, one more thing here, the most important thing. Okay, so he is setting. Okay, let's have a look. He set member name. Okay, he set the member name, and then he used super also to call the set member name in the base class. So let's have a look, because we didn't have a look at the member implementation, member class implementation. Let us have a look, see if it's, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so he created here a member. Let me erase a bit. Okay, so that's the member class. That's the base class that we are having. And that base class have a member name, member ID, subscription paid, and it have a method called set member name. And so that's the set member name, take a name, and then it assign it to the private variable of the member class. And as we have seen here, see, yeah, sorry, I'm so sorry. Yeah, so junior member here, he is using, so he have a method called set member name, and that set member name is able to call the base member class. So as you have seen here, there is no actually private variables that carry the member name or store the member name. He just make use of whatever attributes and properties that is for the base class, and then he call the set member name, and he pass it the member name that he want to set. Okay, so and also if he want to set the member ID, he do the same. He call from the super base class, he set the member ID here in the base member class, and he do the same for the subscription set subscription paid. Okay, now let's have a look. Okay, so let's see what this guy is trying to do here. So he created a junior member, okay, and that junior member he assigned it to the new member variable, okay. But we know already that the junior member is actually a subclass from the member base class, okay. So the new member is able to set member name, like we have seen just a while ago, and set member ID, and set member subscription paid, and also is able to set the date of birth directly. Okay, so see, if we look here, if we go back, we go back here. Yeah, if we go back here, you can see that Okay, so he's able to set the date of birth here for the junior member, and that is not something that is stored in the member base class. That is only related to the junior member, and yeah, he used his own method, and the rest of the method he's using the super class methods. Okay, he's calling it. Let's also pay a look. Yeah. Okay, so that's a member class. So that's a member class. It only has 3 attributes, like we said before, and this is the 3 methods that we just called. And let's have a look back. Let's have a look back. Okay, yeah. So that's what he have called here. These 3 classes, actually, he called them. He called the methods in the base class, and that method is only the one that is belonging to the to this subclass junior member. Okay, so now let's have a look at the next slide. Okay, so super is like we said, is a built-in Python function that provides a way to access methods and attributes of a subclass from a superclass from a subclass. It's used to call the implementation of a method that is defined in a superclass, which has been overridden in a subclass. So again, sometimes he call it a base class, sometimes he call it a superclass. Both of them is the same. Okay. Okay. So he's telling us here how to identify if you should use super or not. So actually, if you want to extend the method used in a super class, then you should use super.method. Additionally, is the keyword to identify. Let's have a look at the. Now, yeah, that's one we can discuss in another class. But let me share with you. So tell me first, please, before we move to the next. Is that clear to you? Did you manage to catch everything I explained so far? Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so let's have a look here and see how it works. Okay, so yeah, that we already explained all that. Let me see. Can you see my screen? Okay, yeah, good. So yeah, he's trying to tell something that is related to a library. We can discuss that example in the next session. That's also a library item, book and CD. I wanted to explain something slightly different here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So actually, I just wanted to tell you first about something about a concept, a definition of the concept, just in case that they ask about that in the exam. So the concept is called polymorphism, and that's when you redefine a function that is already defined in the base class. So if you have a base class and that is having a function called print details, if you redefine that function in a subclass, in that case the book class, so we have a library item and we have a book class. The book class is derived from the library item. Okay, and here we redefine the print details, and that's called polymorphism. Okay, and we print here something different, and then we still call the print details method in the library item class. Okay, and then we print something else also, which is something that is only related to the derived class. So the book class which is a derived class from the library item, it have a member variable that is private and it's called isRequested. So we're printing it here. Okay, so we're printing two things extra, and we also printing whatever the library item method do print. Okay, so I think if everything is clear now, I think we will stop here and then we will continue the next class. Okay, so wait for my exercises and let's see how it goes. Okay, if you have anything, any question, please let me know. Okay, so we can end it here. Okay, take care. Bye bye.